Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're gonna be just doing a quick maintenance on all of the tanks, and then just kind of going over some of the projects that I do have going on still and the progress that we have made on them. So let's get started. So let's start with the saltwater tank first. I want to get a base reading of what the salt in my tank is at the moment, because I want to be able to lower the salinity level to around 30 to 32. I want to stay within that range. If I'm in that range, I'll have a better chance of actually getting the clownfish to breed. On the TDS checker here, it was 36.7. It's a little too high for my liking. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to remove a little bit of salt water so that way I can actually lower the salinity in the tank. So now that we got our base reading, we're going to drain the tank. We want to drain as much water from the tank as we feel kind of like necessary. We don't want to drain too much, don't want to drain too little. You only want to drain about 5%. Again, we already lost a bunch of water from evaporation. So we're going to only drain about, again, 5%. Now I'm going to add in my distilled / RODI water. That way we can again lower the salinity level of the tank and get closer to the clownfish breeding zone, which is around 30% to 32% salinity. So I'm gonna fill up to about where I removed to, so that way we're not over adding water here. And then we're just gonna kind of swish the water around, make sure that we actually do get a little accurate of a reading. I had noticed that as it was in there, it was fluctuating too much, so I wanted to get a more accurate reading. So here we go, we're gonna look at it, and the salinity level currently is 33.6. So again, we lost about 1.5% there from going to a different, or from adding in more RODI water. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the water pump, and we're going to just clean the tank how we normally would. Scrape the glass, clean it, make sure everything's all good. So I turn off the pumps in the aquarium because I want to make sure that I'm not just going to continually blow around the same bacteria and everything and not be able to properly clean this. So I'm going to let it all sink to the floor, or the bed of the aquarium here, so when I do come by later with my siphon, I can properly actually drain and get rid of all this extra bacteria in the tank. I plan on getting more live rock for the tank, so I didn't want to exactly start moving things around. So I just kind of left things how they were. And then when I go to get actual more live rock, I'll start cleaning behind the rock itself. But I did have to edit here so that way I don't get my big body in front of the camera. I had already noticed here I was getting kind of in the camera, and I was like, I don't really like this. I do actually move a couple pieces here though. I was like, you know what? I kind of don't like the way that rock is sitting in between here. So I eventually just take off my Apple Watch and I just move. So I'm like, you know, it looks good here, but it could be better. So I found that when I moved this piece, I was like, maybe we'll put this on top of the ledge here. Didn't like that, so then I decided to actually move it to the other side of the aquarium and put it in front of the little cave that there is for the clownfish themselves. So here we go, we're gonna maybe set it there. No, don't like that. Okay, let's move this piece out of the way. Let's put this one here. And I do freak out a little bit because I'm going to go grab some of these and then the clownfish starts nipping at me and I'm like, oh! You just kind of get a little freaked out from the nipping. Right there, that's where I got freaked out. So I'm like, okay, let's just add this piece back in. And I actually liked it better how I put it in here instead of just sitting on there how it was. So I'm just going to orientate this to where it looks like we got a little bit more coverage for the cave itself. So now we're gonna drain the tank some more because we don't want to keep all of that glass bacteria in the tank. So we're gonna drain this one, and then I realize after about a minute and a half, oh, I'm actually not siphoning anything because I don't hear anything going into the bucket. So I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. So let me just grab this, restart the siphon, and then here we go. Now we're actually removing the detritus, in a sense, from the tank. The female clownfish here, who is continually attacking me, just would not stop attacking anything. I have a feeling she's guarding her stuff territorial because she's actually priming to get started for breeding. So now that we removed some more of the water, we're going to actually check it again. I think. No, I just added in my salt water, I think. Or no, I think I added a little bit more of the RODI water in, and then here we go with adding in the salt water. So again, I want to get within that good zone of not being overly salty because the clownfish won't like it. It'll stress them out. So here we go. We're checking the salinity level again. We just want to make sure that we're actually in the perfect zone for the clownfish. So I'm checking it right by the filter because that's where it's going to actually suck the water from the bottom and then in. We're at 29.9. It's a little too low for my liking, but here we go, adding in some more salt water into the aquarium itself. So we'll get the bucket, and then we just pour in directly into the tank like normal. Here I'm only adding maybe a gallon of salt water, not too much and not too little, and I think it hits the absolute just perfect zone of where I prefer to be in, because again, we're going to lose some salinity. I'm trying out Seacom Clarity here. I've heard good things about it. I read on the back that when you actually douse the tank with it, it'll get super cloudy, but you're not supposed to worry about it because that's just knowing that it's supposed to do that exact thing. It's supposed to make it really cloudy, and then once it makes it cloudy, boom, it'll be completely clear. So then we're going to add our Seacom Prime and then our Seacom Stability. These three pair together amazingly. I've never seen such a clear, healthy tank in my life than literally right after filming this. I eventually just kind of took a step back and was like, wow, this actually looks amazing, and here I go feeding the fish. Now we're going to go over and clean the beta tank. This one hasn't actually been getting too much algae buildup from it. I threw in a pothos plant in it, and it's actually been working amazingly in the tank. The only kind of bad spots I see are actually on the side here. The front wasn't that bad. It was the sides of the tank that were really bad. I eventually start clipping the Lazy Susans that are actually in this tank. I had noticed that they were getting too long, and they were kind of getting in the way of me actually cleaning the tank. This is the first time I've actually ever had to trim these because they're starting to grow towards the front of the glass. So I said, you know what, these have to get snipped. I can't do this anymore. I'm trying to clean the glass here with the toothbrush, and it's just not working in my favor whatsoever. So I clip the plants, and then I actually just toss them into the shrimp tank right next door. The shrimp love cleaning these plants because they have a sort of like symbiotic relationship with algae, and they'll grow algae on them really quickly. So I'm draining this tank about 30%. This one usually gets a lot of stuff in the sand, and it's really hard to clean this one up as well. And then we're going to move over to the shrimp tank. Unfortunately, I have lost almost every single shrimp in here. I think I got hit with some sort of disease in the tank because it was just one after another. I had checked the water levels with the ammonia, the nitrates, the nitrites, literally the whole 9 yards, and I couldn't for the life of me tell you what was going on with this tank. The ammonia was at near zero. The nitrates and nitrites all read perfectly. Literally everything in this tank read perfectly, even the pH. The pH was between, I think it was at its highest 7.8 and at its lowest a 7. So I wasn't too worried about that. But as I was actually vacuuming this tank, I had noticed a bunch of black like sludge coming up from it. And I think that was all of it had a water mite problem. I think all the water mites died in it, and that was some sort of bacteria growing in there that was actually hurting the shrimp. This tank never ever has algae whatsoever, and I probably have about 20 shrimp in here as well. So for some reason this tank just never gets too dirty. It might just be the sponge filter, and I might just have to pick up another one of those and get rid of the actual sponge filter that's in the other tank, because this one, it's like a workhorse. It's just going crazy. These plants I picked out here, they were dead banana plants. I kind of just left them in there, not really thinking about it. But then when I pulled them out and looked at them, they actually had more leaves sprouting up on them. So here I'm just going to pull this shrimp tank forward a little bit. That way I don't have to use the cup to actually pour the water in. So we're going to pour the water into the tank and actually top it off to a proper level, because we don't want it to get dropped too low, but we don't want to get it too high as well. So we're filling this up. And then right after I got done filming this, my phone must have been on 1% during this whole entire process. But right after that, the phone just died. So now we're over here. I'm in 5 times because this tank takes forever to drain. So we're going to drain the 40 gallon. Never any algae in this tank. Again, get yourself a nice canister filter for your aquarium, and it will do wonders for your tank. It'll keep it clean, especially with all of the chemicals that I highly recommend. The Seacom Prime, Seacom Stability, the Clarity. Seacom just has honestly a great line of products. So we kind of get to the spot that we like, and then once we get there, we're just gonna go ahead and fill it right back up. I pre-mixed the chemicals in my bucket before I poured it in here. So we're lifting up the bucket, pouring it in. Again, you're gonna see a huge cloudy mess just go across the tank, and then in about an hour the tank will just clear right on up. But yeah, to kind of touch base with the breeding projects, the clownfish have not started breeding, but they're starting the behavior of breeding. So I feel like they have actually started that gender process of one becoming a female and then the other one becoming the alpha male, and actually starting the symbiotic relationship between the two. The other day I pulled out 14 and then 7, so 21 eggs in total from the rainbowfish tank. Unfortunately, I've lost quite a few of those eggs to mold, but hopefully within the next coming days we'll actually get those numbers back up. But thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I always do. If you guys want to leave a like, leave a comment. I always love reading your comments and replying to them. But thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys soon.